Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, August 7th, 2017. This is John Lavinia, and I am excited for another week with my friends here inside Digital Altitude and on the Black Diamond Call, which obviously I'm partial to since this is my baby. I've been running calls like this for some years now. And this call is going to be, especially want to welcome our brand new members. I know we've got a lot of you that just recently got started, so congratulations. Welcome to all of you. So glad you're here. I see a lot of new faces in the chat roll as well. Wes, Justin, Benji. I know you, Benji. Jimmy, welcome everybody. Patrick, Llewellyn, glad you guys are all here. So before we get into the meat, I do have a quick announcement, and that is a reminder for some of you, and it's a brand new discovery for those of you who just got here, and that is that we are having our Marketing Mastery event live in Las Vegas, Nevada, October 14th and 15th, and you can get tickets for that now at extremely discounted early bird pricing, and you can do that at digitalaltitude.co/MME, digitalaltitude.co/MME. Also, there is going to be a special broadcast this evening. I'm sorry, not this evening, Thursday evening. This and Thursday both start with TH, so you can see how my mind got confused. But Thursday evening, and that's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Check your email for an invitation to that. That's going to be with Michael Force and some of the other people who you don't get to hear from too often here inside Digital Altitude. We got a lot of people coming out for this event and a special broadcast to discuss some of the plans and preparations that are in store for everyone come October. But be there this Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and that will be invitation only. So check your email, and of course the invitations are going out to everyone. So you're invited. You just need a special invitation to get in. So that being said, this is the Black Diamond Call, and on this call we like to do things a little bit differently. Sometimes I have a guest speaker. Sometimes, like tonight, I'm going to be my own guest speaker because I'm rather passionate about this topic, and I feel like I'm about to go on a rant. So let me go ahead and give you my usual disclaimers here, and that is that nothing's pre-planned or pre-scripted. Everything you hear coming out of my mouth is going to be very, very off the cuff, very street. In other words, very, very real, not terribly filtered. And I'm hoping that you take these ideas and run with them, like actually put these ideas into use in your business. I am not here to entertain you, although I think I'm rather entertaining from time to time, but I'd rather see you succeed and rather than just be entertained. And as I always mention, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll. I got a bit of fire in my belly tonight, feeling a bit fired up, and I'm looking to hopefully rattle a few cages here and perhaps get you to do some things that you haven't been doing. So I'm going to go ahead and make some blanket statements that may or may not apply to you. It's going to be up to you to decide whether or not these things apply to you. I am not a dictator, but I am somebody who's made millions of dollars doing what you say you want to do here inside the Digital Altitude online business world. So I've got some credibility, and you may want to heed what I'm about to express and perhaps come up with some ideas on how you can apply these things in ways that I may not even mention tonight. Okay, again, I'm not your guru. And I know, in fact, that's a beautiful segue into our topic, and I know a lot of times people are looking for gurus and secrets and magic buttons and systems that'll do for them what they're not willing to do for themselves, and all the things that keep people running in friggin' circles in our industry. You can see I'm a little bit fired up here tonight. And I've seen it for decades. Guys, gals, I've seen this for decades. You know, there comes a point where, you know, you got the, just imagine this. Imagine that you've been successful at something for years and years and years, and you see people who have such potential, people who could go so far in their business, in their life, if they would but just do what they see the other top performers doing in the industry. Now that sounds terribly simple. Of course, John, we've heard about modeling what other people have done, and we've heard about, we have coaches, like right here in DA, you know, we've got coaches, people you can learn from. You know, if you've gotten yourself a RISE program, you get to hang out for a week or so with a senior coach or a scale-up coach, right, that is someone who has necessarily made a lot of money. a lot of money doing what you say you want to do. And so there is some advice that you can take from people like that, as well as top earners who you hear come out on these calls and host, for example, on Wednesday evenings, we have our On the Rise webinar. You get to see tips and ideas and strategies from people who are in the game doing it, right? Creating advertisements and traffic and leads and sales, right? So there's lots of examples that you could mirror, that you could model, that you could emulate. And you know what? It starts the moment you enroll. I want you to think about something here, and then we're going to get deeper into the brain pit that I'm in right now. But I want you to think about something. Throughout the history of the network marketing and home-based business, industry and profession, we have noticed that people tend to do things that worked for them when they were getting started. In other words, let's say someone was contacted by a friend of theirs to take a look at some business opportunity. We're going to go back to 1955 right now. Oh, let's say 57. So 1957, and your buddy rolls up in his 57 Chevy that he just got. That he's a hip, slick, and cool cat, and he says, "Hey, man, come over to my house on Friday night, and we're gonna have a get together, and he's gonna meet a bunch of friends and all this, right?" So you come over to his house on Friday night, and they have a house party, and he's drawing circles on a whiteboard, or they didn't have whiteboards back then, a blackboard, right, or a flip chart. After the milk and cookie party, and it sounds great. It's this thing called multi-level marketing or something, and sounds great. What a great concept, right? Hey, Doris, did you hear about the multi-level marketing? It's the latest craze. And so you get started. And so that worked. That worked on you and for you. Right now, you were just enlightened. You now have some new possibility in your life, something you're pursuing, and what do? Well, you're going to go ahead and duplicate that. I mean, after all, rolling up to somebody's house in a 57 Chevy was pretty compelling for you. So you do exactly that. Now, some people are cut out for that. Maybe the hip, slick, and cool cat who drives around in a 57 Chevy is got the personality for personal contact marketing and showing up and driving a slick car and inviting people to house parties, but that's the way that you were introduced to the business, and therefore, by default, you think that's the way you've got to introduce people to the business. And my friends, that method has been going on for almost a century. My goodness, what year is it? 2017. Okay, so we could say network marketing sort of officially started in 1950 or so. I may be off by a few years. Actually, the original, the development and the origin of the home business profession was like the peddler, the person who would go and peddle his wares from, I don't know, a stagecoach or something, and here's the, whatever they were selling, snake oil and the magic elixir and all this. And funnily, there's still plenty of companies that selling the snake oil and the magic elixir. And you know what? I buy it all and I eat it all up. It's yum, 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 yum. I love it. I got cabinets full of MLM product. Hooray, hooray, hooray. But I'm talking here about the business approach, the marketing approach. People tend to emulate what they saw worked for them. When I got started here in top tier direct sales, we're going back 15 years, so not quite back to the 57 Chevy, okay, but back to 2015, when I finally discovered a business model that could show me how to make some real money by people who were making some real money. What a breakthrough. Imagine that. So I had enough of the milk and cookie parties and, come to the house and draw circles on whiteboards and hotel meetings and all that, okay? But when I was introduced to this segment of the home business industry or profession, it was because somebody put a flyer on my cart. Now keep in mind, this is going back 15 years. My friends, YouTube did not exist. Do you understand that? YouTube, the most heavily trafficked video site and search engine in the world, subsidiary of Google, the biggest search engine in the world, okay, did not exist when I was introduced to this business. How was I introduced to this business, you might wonder? Somebody put a flyer on my car, a little business card-sized flyer, like a piece of garbage. They put it on my car, and I called a toll-free number and learned about how I could come to a meeting to hear about how to make the kind of money that I was looking to make and had been looking to make for years. So now, based on what I've told you so far, can you guess? I'll give you one guess. Can you guess how I started marketing once I got started in that deal and I was going to go build my business now? Can you guess what method I used to start attracting leads into my business? You can type it into the chat roll if you're joining us live. Can you guess what method I employed? Flyers. Llewellyn got it. Cards on windshields. Yeah. Patrick, word of mouth. No, Patrick, it was cards on cars. In fact, let me say this, Angela, because Angela said card on windshield. Tony says flyers. Yes, that's correct. What we were doing back in the day is we would go ahead and we would buy card stock, right? So like you can go to the office supply store and you get card stock with like pastel colors, and we would get like canary yellow and some, wacky orange. And you couldn't go too bright. Like the hot pink was like, oh my goodness, that was just too intense. But usually our favorites were the pastel yellow or the pastel orange. And we would go and we would take a piece of paper and we would cut out 8 flyers per page, or 9, actually 9 flyers per page. It would be 3 across and 3 down. So 3 times 3 is 9. And so these would be 1/9 of a size of a standard page that you can go to the photocopy machine and load your paper up, and it's black ink on a piece of pastel cardstock. And we would put them, we would put them in the driver's door of the car. So you don't put it in the windshield, under the windshield wiper, because if you do that, you see, the people drive off, and then they didn't see it before they started driving off, and so it might blow off, or it might obstruct their vision. So we did something really slick. We would put it between the rubber and the glass of the driver's side window, right above the door handle. So when you approach the driver's door, there's the handle, and obviously you look up just a little bit, there's where the window starts, okay? And there's a piece of rubber, right, a water seal right there. You just go ahead and jam the card right in between the glass and the rubber, right above the driver's door handle. And this way, it's in the driver's hand before they open the car door. It is getting delivered. So any of you who want to go and use 20th century methods to promote your business, you can do that. And that's what I did, because that's what worked for me. That's how I was introduced to it. That must be how you do marketing. After all, the guy who was doing that and who was in charge of the crews that were running around and papering up parking lots, this guy, he was making over $50,000 a month. I'm coachable. I'm coachable, damn it. Let me do that. Okay? But guess what? Guess what, my friends? In fact, I was telling one of my students that I have the pleasure to work with here as a coach, I was telling him that's how I started my marketing. That and printed ads in newspapers, like classified ads, like liner ads, like how many words can you fit on 3 lines, which is the minimum you can buy in the classified section. Right? Patrick in the chat roll saying Craigslist. Yes, we did a bit of that too, although they're total Nazis. But the and so are by the way, so are the so are the security guards in the parking lots of shopping malls where we were looking to put flyers. My goodness, I've gotten chased out of so many parking lots by these guys. I remember one guy. This was down in Tucson, Arizona, at Park Place Mall on the east side, and there was a guy who was looked just like Chuck Norris. He was a security guard there, and he was very, very serious about his job. I thought he was going to karate chop my ass, but anyway, we got out of there without any harm. But anyway, what was the point that I'm making? The point is that we tend to do what we've seen other people who are successful do, to a degree. To a degree. Can you guys all hear me okay? I see somebody typing in the chat roll. There's nobody else on. This guy Wes, he may need to just hit his microphone phone icon or whatever to join it. But yeah, hopefully everybody can hear me good. Okay, great. So here we were doing things that I thought would be effective based on what I saw other people doing that was effective. But there was more to the story. There was more that I didn't see that successful people were doing, that I didn't recognize. It was not apparent to me. It was not apparent. So I had to go deeper. I had to learn more. I had to look for the secrets, so to speak. You see, it's our tendency to look for secrets. Well, I'm going to give you a secret tonight. I'm going to give you a secret tonight that will make you not only more influential in the marketplace, but will also break any inertia that you may be having that may be stopping you from getting momentum in the marketplace, and will also make you an asset, not only to yourself and to your business, which you are here to build, but also to this community known as Digital Altitude. So, and again, I may get a little loud here tonight because here's some of the stuff that apparently isn't noticed quite often, but it should be noticed, and I want to put your attention on it because it may not be as obvious as, oh, you know, that person put a flyer on a car, so let me go put a flyer on a car, or that person does Instagram, so let me do Instagram, or that person runs a YouTube channel, so let me do video marketing on YouTube. Right? So typically we'll tend to do what worked for us. What worked to get us in is what we typically will do. But there are so many options when it comes to marketing. So many options. But we're going to go deeper than marketing now. We're going to go into influence and conversion. Because look, anybody could put a flyer on a car. Anybody could run a YouTube channel. Anybody could post to Instagram. Anybody could spend their life on Facebook. And Facebook is happy for you to do that. Okay, they like the traffic. They get paid with ad revenue, right? But being effective, this is what we're really here for. Now tell me truly, if you could spend as little time as possible spinning your wheels in whatever platform, all right, whether we're talking about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube videos, putting flyers on cars, whatever it is, if you could spend less time doing that and get a better result, would you be willing to get a better result in less time? Is that okay? Does anyone object to that? If you object, you can go ahead and tell me, I object, damn it. I see that there are no objections in the chat room. So more money and less time with less effort. Yes? Yes. Okay. Very good. So guess what, my friends? I am really, really freaking good at making more money and less time with less effort. I am awesome at that. I teach that. That's one of the reasons I'm qualified as a senior top scale-up coach or whatever the hell my title is here, because of that, because I'm good at that, okay? Now, I suck at almost everything else. Like I could play guitar okay, I suppose, and, you know, I snowboard all right, and, you know, good at, you know, riding my Harley, and a lot of you know I'm into like self-defense and tactical training, and I'm out shooting guns in the desert. I'm really good at that stuff. That's just a couple of things that I'm good at, okay? But the thing that allows me the time to be good at all those other things is that I got good at creating some influence in the online marketplace. And how I do it may not be obvious, and that's why I'm going to be talking about what I'm talking about here tonight. And then again, it's right in front of your face. I mean, it is right in front of your face as you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. The secret is right in front of your face. So I'm going to make sure there is nothing ambiguous or mysterious about this secret here tonight. And to help me with this, I am going to call on my buddy Napoleon Hill, who I've referred to before. I've called him out before. Napoleon, would you like to share a few tips with our friends? Well, yes, John, I would. Okay, great. So, John, would you please turn to page 94 of the most influential book on wealth creation ever written, which is the book I wrote back in 1930s and published in 1936 called Think and Grow Rich. Yes, Napoleon, I have it right here in front of me. Page 94. What do you see there, John? Oh, here's what I see. The major attributes of leadership. That's what this piece of this chapter is all about. The major attributes of leadership. And on the PDF that I'm looking at right now, it's on page 94. If you're looking at a printed version, or, you know, there's a variety of re-releases of this book. throughout the year, so it may not be page 94 for you. But it's called The Major Attributes of Leadership. And this stuck out in my mind today because, listen, my friends, I see so many people, they want to get paid like a leader, and that they're not behaving like a leader. So this may sound like an admonishment for some of you. If so, fine, own that. Do something with that. Please do something. Okay? Don't neglect. Don't reject. Do something. Accept and take action on this. But I'm going to give you the enumeration of the major attributes of leadership according to Napoleon Hill. And this is based on his research of over 250 of the most successful people of the industrial age. We're talking about principle here. We're not talking about how they did their internet marketing, because the internet marketing didn't exist. Okay? In fact, one of the guys that he spent time with to write this book was a guy named Henry Ford, who figured out how to put people in cars so that someday John and his buddies could go paper up windshields in parking lots in Tucson, Arizona. Okay? So we're going back 100 years almost. And here's what he says. The following are important factors of leadership, and I'm going to enumerate them, and I'm going to park on one of them because it's so obvious and yet so not obvious. Number one, unwavering courage based upon knowledge of self and one's occupation. No follower wishes to be dominated by a leader who lacks self-confidence and courage. No intelligent follower will be dominated by such a leader very long. Number two, self-control. The man who cannot control himself can never control others. Self-control sets a mighty example for one's followers, which the more intelligent will emulate. Now, some of you who've been here for a while, you know that I've been through these before. This has come up a couple of times. Okay, we're going to rip through these, and I'm going to park on one of them. Number three, a keen sense of justice. Without a sense of fairness and justice, no leader can command and retain the respect of his followers. Number four, definiteness of decision. The man who wavers in his decisions shows that he is not sure of himself. He cannot lead others successfully. And I've parked on that one before, by the way. If any of you are vague about why we're talking about leadership as it relates to you making more money, then you need to read this whole book like a couple of times, because the two go hand in hand. Control equals profit, my friends. Understand that. And leaders are in control. That's what we're talking about. But with control, inseparable from control is the R word, which a lot of people don't like, responsibility. Okay. And combining all of that, right, you got to be able to make decisions. You got to know where you're going. You got to be in control of your own destiny and the message that you're putting out there, and all the other ways that control and definiteness of decision manifests itself in your daily actions. We'll go on. Number five, definiteness of plans. The successful leader must plan his work and work his plan. A leader who moves by guesswork without practical, definite plans is comparable to a ship without a rudder. Sooner or later, it will land on the rocks. Number six, the habit of doing more than paid for. One of the penalties of leadership is the necessity of willingness upon the part of the leader to do more than he requires of his followers. Number seven, a pleasing personality. No slovenly, careless person can become a successful leader. Leadership calls for respect. Followers will not respect a leader who does not grade high on all of the factors of a pleasing personality. Number eight, sympathy and understanding. The successful leader must be in sympathy with his followers. Moreover, he must understand them and their problems. Number nine, mastery of detail. Successful leadership calls for mastery of details of the leader's position. Number 10, willingness to assume full responsibility. The successful leader must be willing to assume responsibility for the mistakes and the shortcomings of his followers. If he tries to shift this responsibility, he will not remain the leader. If one of his followers makes a mistake and shows himself incompetent, the leader must consider that it is he who failed. Number 11, cooperation. The successful leader must understand and apply the principle of cooperative effort and be able to induce his followers to do the same. Leadership calls for power, and power calls for cooperation. There are two forms of leadership. The first, and by far the most effective, is leadership by consent of and with the sympathy of the followers. The second is leadership by force without the consent and sympathy of the followers. And he goes on to explain a bit more about what that looks like. So we're not going to belabor that. But these are the 11 points that he enumerates in this portion of the book, The Major Attributes of Leadership. So where am I parking on this one? The one that may not be so obvious, the one that you may not see, but the one that is all around you every day. And that is number 6, the habit of doing more than paid for. I'll read the description of that one again. He says, one of the penalties of leadership is the necessity of willingness upon the part of the leader to do more than he requires of his followers. Now, we're all here in the world of marketing and business to make money, to profit, and to create the lifestyle for ourselves, our loved ones, our family, the lifestyle that we've been, in some cases, yearning for years or decades. We're here to break free of the workaday world, the rat race, the whatever the modern terminology is for it, okay? But the idea here is that we're looking to be paid, and paid well, paid what we're worth. So wouldn't we go all out in terms of our resolve and our dedication to our work, knowing that we can be paid quite handsomely? We would. Hopefully you do. But are there things that you could also do that don't directly affect your bottom line? Okay, you got to think ahead here a little bit. You've got to be able to have the intelligence that he talked about earlier in a previous item here. You've got to have the intelligence to recognize the long-term effects of what you do that you're not getting paid for today, but that can profit you for years to come. Can you defer gratification? Only intelligent people can do this, by the way. Can you defer gratification and do things that may not be comfortable now, but do so in order to have food to eat in the winter, right? Think about like a farmer. The farmer does not eat his seed crop because winter is coming, okay? So there's a deferred gratification. Maybe hungry now, but you don't eat that seed crop. You've got to be able to plant next year's crops and all this. And I'm not a farmer. I'm just giving you parallels in the human mind. In this case, we could see that there's some of the things that we have to do in any industry if we're going to be a leader. Okay, Napoleon Hill didn't write this about you and digital altitude or the internet. I mean, none of this existed. Okay, but the principles are timeless. In any industry, are you able to defer gratification and do things that you're not directly getting paid for, and do them to the point where you develop influence in the marketplace and in your statistics over the long haul? This is a tough one for a lot of people. Look, this is why I'm bringing this up, because in our modern age, we have a lot of purported instant gratification, a lot of microwave results, and happy magic buttons and all this kind of stuff. And I will say that we've got a lot of people who have been sort of talked out of work. Like somehow you're entitled to the riches of the world just because you showed up. We live in an age where everybody gets a trophy if you're in school sports or something. Just because you participated, you get a trophy. Now, I grew up in a time where that sort of egalitarianism did not yet take root, where it's everyone has to be awarded for, just barely showing up. Okay, we had winners and losers back in the day. And guess what? In a free market society, there's still winners and losers. What I'm talking to you about right now is becoming a winner, unapologetically becoming a winner. But part of that winner, that responsible person, that leader that Napoleon Hill is talking about here, part of that is doing more than what you're directly paid for and doing more than you require of your followers. Keep in mind, my friend, most people are followers. They think like followers. They're not leaders. They're not. And people come into a business, could be this business, could be that deal, in 1957 where they drew the circles, and they're selling, soap and skin cream and jungle juice to their friends, family, and neighbors. Whatever. They come into it with an employee mentality, a follower mentality. Like, I hope they got this figured out because I don't have it figured out. And therefore, they never figure it out because they rely on somebody else to have it figured out. Now, what's the example that's right in front of your face that you could see, well, yeah, maybe I could do Maybe I could do more. Maybe I could stop thinking like a follower and start thinking like an entrepreneur, like a producer. What's one example that's right in front of your face every single day of something people do that they don't get paid for? It's this live call series. There's a perfect example right there. Linda got it, these calls. Perfect example. You heard Cassandra this morning. Okay, what's her pay for doing that? Well, I'll tell you what, she gets paid, but not in money. Not in money. Are there other forms of pay in addition to money? You bet your ass there are. Why do you think people stay in jobs for decades, jobs they hate, jobs that they can't even make the kind of money they want? Because they're getting paid another way, socially, emotionally, right? Camaraderie, the cooperative work with other, members of their employment, right? And some people stay in jobs even though they can't stand their coworkers, but that's also emotional pay. People whose identity is that of strife and always being out of accord with their fellow man. My goodness, can they fulfill that intention at a job they hate with these coworkers that they complain about all the time, bitching and moaning? Yeah, fear, that's another one, right? They get to fulfill their fear-based chronic emotional state. So what are the ways that people get paid? There's lots of ways that people get paid, and I can tell you that part of your pay for doing what you do is that cooperative work with other people, is the camaraderie, is going to the events and being a part of this whole thing. I mean, look, no man is an island. Okay, you may not have received a check for some action that you may have taken yesterday or tomorrow. Excuse me, but you're participating in something with a purpose. Yes, that's pay right there. People will not last in something that they can't get passionate about and feel purposeful about. Think about that. Okay? Tomorrow morning we're going to have Joel come out. Does he get paid to give you his wisdom each week? No, not monetarily. But does he get paid? Yes, he gets paid nonetheless. Right? Now, what's another way that you get paid? Why do I say that you want to do these things? Like become a producer and build influence in the online marketplace. And do things beyond what you get paid for. Why do I say that? Because here's one other very obvious way that people get paid. How many of you know who Cassandra Serrano is? How many of you know who Joel is? Or Pierre Boudon? Or Eli Gonzalez? Or Glenn Henderson? Right? Or Kathy Flynn? Or Samith Pish? I just mentioned these are call staff. These are all my call staff. Now, do you think that affects their credibility in the marketplace, which you are part of the marketplace, by the way? When I say the marketplace, that doesn't just mean people we haven't met yet who haven't seen your advertisements yet. The marketplace includes everyone who is within earshot or could be referred by somebody who is within earshot. Think about this. When I published my first book, it was after having already become successful and having had years of success in our industry. And guess what? Thousands of people bought my book right after I published it. Why? Because I already had credibility in the marketplace. People already knew who I was, and I had been hosting conference calls and putting myself out there, doing something, producing some content, which I didn't get paid for, not monetarily. However, did I not increase my influence in the marketplace? And did I not also at the same time cultivate my leadership, my taking responsibility for things that I wasn't directly on the payroll for, but did I not or did I not accept the responsibility of shaping the environment in which I was working? I did. So here's the question, my friends. Whose business is this? Is it Michael's? Is this Michael's business? Linda got it. It's yours. Tony got it. Ann, yes. All of you. It's yours. This is your business. How did Digital Altitude come to be? Let's stop here for a second and think about this. So here's this guy, Michael Force. He was an affiliate in this company. He was doing work in that company. He saw this work. He saw that didn't work. He saw. And he said, you know what? I got an idea. Here's my vision for the best attributes of all the things that I've experienced over the last 15 years or whatever, and I'm going to amass this great organization. I'm going to attract the best people at each post in the organization, and I'm going to work my ass off for a year with no pay to put this together, and then we're going to launch it. And with the right people and the right vision, the right product line, the right compensation plan, with all the stuff that I've learned, I can create something spectacular. Okay, now, this was a risk that he took on. It could have bombed. Could have. It could have. But he already had influence in the marketplace. He already had ideas of what worked. He already had plenty of contacts that he had made because he had put himself out there. By the way, he was running conference calls like this, okay, with companies he was working with, and doing the videos and doing all the ways that you can go and create influence in the marketplace. He did all that stuff, and then when it came time for him to produce his vision and put it out there, he had people, he had the ear of people. He had communication lines already set up. He attracted quality people who admittedly are better than he is at a variety of things that they're just better at. Right? Anyone who's been through step 13, you know that there's a staff here. There's like 100 people on staff, and they do stuff that Michael doesn't do or doesn't do as good as them, and they do it better. So, Ray, you go do it. and there's payroll, and there's lots of work that needs to be done. You don't have to do any of this stuff. But what can you do to start to embrace this idea? What can you do that you're not directly paid for? I'll give you one example right now. Here's one example. Every Friday morning, we do a call called the Inside Digital Altitude Conference Call. Do any of you attend that call? I hope you do. Now, obviously, some of you are on the other side of the planet, and it's the middle of the night when that's happening, and you're asleep, and you catch the replay on the podcast, and that's all very nice. Okay, great. However, who hosts that call? Whose call is that? Is that my call? Is that Glenn's? No, we're facilitators. It's yours. That's right. That's your call. You're the host of that call. This is the one time a week where I'm going to ask you, and I'm asking you all right now, and I don't care what your rank, okay? I don't care how long you've been here, and if you just had your first aha moment because you started going through steps, or you just made your first $1 million and your name's Jason Stone, or whoever you are. I don't care what your rank is, okay? You're a coach, you're an affiliate, you're a newbie, you're a seasoned veteran, you're an earthling, you're a Martian. I don't give a damn. Okay, this is your one time a week where I am asking you, I'm imploring you to please be part of the solution. Produce something. Produce some content. Did any of you hear, I had Sarah Gallo out. It was just, she was not able to, she travels a lot, and, she's the 5-foot traveler and all this. She was not able to attend the Friday call. So I said, hey, you want to come out on Thursday? And yeah. So this is Thursday on the 20th of July. And I had her come out just on a moment's notice. And I mean literally, I hit her on Skype a few minutes before the call was starting and said, hey, where are you? Oh, I'm in Zurich or something, the Alps. Okay, can you get an internet connection? Great. So I got her set it up on the conference bridge like 4 minutes before we went live, and there she was, and she did a wake-up call on the 20th of July, and she got to share her experience with everyone, and I heard so much feedback from that. Oh, wow, Sarah, she never even made more than $20,000 in a year. She was broke when she got here this year, 2017, and now she's an Apex affiliate. Just had her first $20,000 plus month. Is that helpful for you guys to hear that stuff? Or am I just barking up the wrong tree? I mean, think about this. Why do we host a call like the Inside Digital Altitude call? I'm going to park on that call here for just a minute. That's the one call where me and my staff can't do what we need you to do. I can go and I can run a lecture, which I'm lecturing right now, and maybe you're enjoying it and maybe you're not, whatever. But I can tell you, when it comes time for our guests to hear the most important thing of all, which is social proof. If you had only one sales weapon in your entire arsenal, let it be that. Let it be that, my friends. And I'm not talking about posting, that you feel happy today because you had a commission or something. I'm not talking about posting on Facebook. I'm talking about the spoken word. Yeah, we're going old school here. This is back when people used phones to do something other than take selfies. Okay, we talk to people. People buy from people, and they may not relate to me. this Italian guy, John. I don't know about this guy, John. Of course, he could be successful. He's been doing this for, 10,000 years. And, oh, Glenn, he's all eloquent and everything. So, but when they hear you, they're like, oh, that person can do it? And then that person? Oh, I can relate to that, right? Think about this, guys. People buy from people. So this call, this Inside Digital Altitude call, again, I'm just harping on that one a bit. If Glenn and I open up that call and we hear crickets, that is the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world. That says to me, John, you're the producer, you're the leader, and nobody else is. But guess what? Guess what? Number 6, right here from the book, the habit of doing more than paid for. Well, I know one guy who's doing that. You see, so I'm confident in what I'm doing. I know I'm on the right track. The habit of doing more than pay for. Now, what happens? Let's say here that you get into the habit of being a producer. You get into the habit of creating a piece of content once a week, once a day, once a month, anything. Okay, here I'm laying out a red friggin' carpet for you to create 30 to 60 seconds worth of content each week. Okay, and you don't come out every single week. I mean, if everybody in Digital Altitude came out on a Friday morning and shared 30 seconds worth of content, it would be a waiting list. You'd be in queue for some months before we finally got to you, because we have thousands of people here. Okay, but when that call happens and it's time to tell our guests or brand new members, they're 1 hour in the business, they're hoping they didn't just get scammed, they're hoping they're in the right place, they need some reassurance, damn it. Somebody please tell me I made a good decision. That's you. That's you. I can't tell them that. I'm the old sage, man. Of course I could succeed. I'm not relatable, but you are. And when I say you, again, I'm talking to people of every rank here, okay, because even a different personality who may have been in the business for years, right? I'll use the Jason Stone example. So here's Jason Stone, right, who you may say, oh, well, he's not relatable either. He's already made over $1 million, and, he's already, driving a Lamborghini or whatever. So, of course he can do it. Well, no, hold on a second. Jason Stone didn't know what affiliate marketing was 2 years ago. Right? Jason Stone was building an Instagram account to no end. I mean, he didn't know why. Just, we're going to build an Instagram account. Jason Stone is not a public speaker. Okay, so anyone who's heard him present, he's been on this call just a few weeks ago. He was on this call. I interviewed him a bit, and, got some good content out of him, I think, right? But he's not going to, jump on stage and grab a mic and dazzle the audience and all. That's just not his bag. That's not his thing, right? He's really, really good with Instagram marketing. I suck at Instagram marketing. Fine, okay? But here's the thing. We all have something that we can share for 30 to 60 seconds, something powerful. And it's not, here's the thing. I'll give you a little tip on this, okay? Imagine that people are going to hear this a year from now, because everything, like right now, these words that are coming out of my mouth, they are going to be on the podcast, and you can go listen to this a year from now. In fact, if it's a year from now and you're listening to this recording, hit me up and let me know that that you got some value a year after these words came out of my mouth. Right now it's August 7th, 2017. But I want you to think about this. Imagine that you're gonna produce some influence. You're going to influence someone now and then tomorrow and then the next day and the next day because of this content you're creating in the next 30 to 60 seconds when the microphone opens and it's your microphone. And all right, Bob, tell us about your success for the week. All eyes are on you. Now, I'm not saying that to make you nervous, okay? I'm saying that to let you know that this is now, you are charged with the responsibility of telling people why you got started, why you have made the right decision, and why the water's fine and they should jump in as well. That is the social proof we're talking about, whether you just learned something new or you just made your first $1 million, okay? And it's not, and why I'm saying this, by the way, is because sometimes people shoot themselves in the foot. They say stupid things like, oh, this is great, I'm happy to be here, and you know what, I've been learning for a little while, and I haven't made any money yet, but what did you just say? You haven't made any money yet? Again, I'm going to get a little raw here with everybody, okay? But you can refer to books like The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, which is even older than Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, where he talks about you'll never help the poor by addressing poverty. you don't, what do you think about expands, right? So if you want to help the poor, don't be one of them. And the more you talk about poverty and the causes of poverty and why this and why that, the more you validate and expand poverty. Okay? So don't talk about being broke. Don't talk about you've ever been broke. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Talk about where we're going. Where are we going? Look, this chapter here that I'm reading from, this portion of the chapter called The Major Attributes of Leadership, right? Think about this for a second. Leadership is where you can lead others, where you've got a predetermined destination that you've determined for yourself. Remember, number 4 here, definiteness of decision, right? Who decides? You. You decide. What did you decide? You decided where we're going. And anyone who's willing to go there with you can now follow you. And any sane person would not follow a person who doesn't have a destination. So it really doesn't matter where you've been, or that you were broke yesterday or 5 minutes ago, or you haven't made any money yet. Nobody needs to hear about that. Where are we going? You got to share your vision. I see this on Facebook too, not necessarily here in Digital Altitude, although I don't spend much time on Facebook. I'm sure I could find it right here in Digital Altitude. But I see people like in network marketing groups and stuff where they're bitching and griping about how they're struggling in their business. And yet, all eyes are on them, whether they know it or not, right? Should I join this person in their business? Oh, their business is too hard. They're struggling. I mean, this is so great. I mean, we got the best jungle juice in the world, and I love my team. Oh, and the company's been in business, and our warehouse is 10 million square feet, and the headquarters, and oh, this is all great. I haven't made any money yet, but, oh my goodness. You didn't just say that, did you? Did you really say that in public? Where are we going? Nobody gives a damn about where you've been. You got a story that's great. Put it in your book. That's nice. We can have a little backstory, okay? But right now, your job is to inspire others to get off their ass and make a decision which they are unwilling to make. Yes, most people are followers. And you are in sales, which means you are here to induce decisions in others, lest they never get out of their own way and stay stuck and die broke, which is probably what's going to happen, unless somebody wakes them up. And damn it, I am going to be one of those people that wakes them up. I will. That's why I'm in this industry. I can go anywhere and make money. You can go anywhere and make money. You can go get a job. You can go on welfare or the dole or whatever they call public assistance in your country, right, which seems to be everywhere lately. Or you could do something that's part of the solution. And I'd rather have a bullet in my head than be part of the problem. So let me provide some social proof that people, if they're willing to get out of their own way, jump in, the water's fine, let's go. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. Is it worth it? Absolutely. I haven't worked a job in 15 friggin' years. My best month in direct sales is $200,000. And I'm not done. I've got new goals. How's that sound, right? So when people come here and they're wondering, can I at least, replace, my income from my job? That's a typical, a typical want of people when they come here. In like low ticket MLMs and little tiny, CPA affiliate programs and stuff, people are just looking to, pay their electric bill or whatever. And interestingly, a lot of times those people tend to run their mouth more about hype. When they don't have anything else of substance, they tend to run their mouth a lot about hype. But here, people are typically looking for just, get out of that, job lifestyle. It sucks. They hate it, right? So yeah, and you go ahead and you're able to provide some hope for somebody, some evidence that this is a good decision. They can go and do that. And we're not talking about hype. We're talking about a calculated understanding with a logical backup of why this is good and right. And look, if you can't conjure up some belief in your own self about why this is good and right and that you're on the right path, you're in the wrong business. You need to sell this to yourself. When I was invited to come here and set up this whole training call series and do some coaching and everything with Digital Altitude, I had to look at Digital Altitude. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm not looking to just kick around and jump around, deal to deal, and get distracted 10 million times per hour. I'm not. I'm a little bit more mature. And so when I looked at what Michael Force has going on here, I had to do my own due diligence. And you know what one of the biggest questions that were up on my mind was? Who's involved? First thing that came to mind for me. Who's involved? Who's behind the scenes doing this? Because more important than what you do is who's doing it with you. That's the question. I learned that. That cost me millions of dollars to learn that, by the way. But that's the thing, right? What's the vision here? What is the purpose of all this? Is this just a money grab or something? Is that what this is? A money grab? Or does this have some substance? Is this built on rock or is this built on sand? Because my goodness, how many more mistakes do I want to have to make in my life? Digital altitude is substantial. This is built on rock. The vision of Michael Force and the people at great expense that he has attracted to help him put this together, this is no joke. Can you sell that to yourself? Can you get in the spirit of what a huge undertaking this was and how special this is, how rare this is to find something like this? And can you conjure up 30 to 60 seconds worth of gratitude to come and share with a guest who maybe I invite to the call and say, hey, come and listen to some of my friends, right? You may or may not believe me. I don't know. I don't want you to listen to me. Don't believe me. Go listen to these people. Can you help me make sales? Can you please help me make sales? And thereby help yourself? Because that person who hears the podcast a year from now, or who maybe somebody, they're going to find your downline, right, your team member, they're going to find their advertisement and they're going to become a lead. And this is going to happen 90 days from now. What is it, August, September, October, November? So November 7th, somebody's going to answer an advertisement, and that person who placed that ad is on your team, and you're about to profit from that. Can you help that person make that sale? Please help that person, because that person is going to say, you know what, you need to hear from my friends. Here, check out, Sally on this recording. Check out this podcast. In fact, subscribe to the podcast. Listen to what goes on inside this company. Why do you think we host all these calls? This is it. It's the most powerful weapon in your sales arsenal is social proof. Social proof, my friends. Do it. Do it. You so deserve to be part of the solution. Are you getting paid for that? Not in the next 5 minutes, but my goodness, when you do what Napoleon Hill says here, the habit of doing more than paid for, now you've broken past the inertia. Right? Remember I talked about, I promised you today I would show you how to get past inertia. Oh, John, I don't know about making my own content. I don't know what to talk about on the video, and I don't know what I'm going to post on Facebook, and I just don't know. Well, great. Here, we're going to break that inertia right now. Right now. In fact, right now being, let's say, Friday morning. So Friday morning, we're going to break that inertia, show up, and have 30 to 60 seconds worth of something cool to say that you learned, or that you made your first profit, or that you made your first million, or whatever success you're having. You've got a whole week to figure out one thing that you're grateful for. Go sell yourself one thing that you're grateful for. Go figure out why you're here and why you choose to remain here. One thing. And then show up on Friday morning. Give me 30 seconds. If everybody did that, like I said before, there would be a waiting queue for months. And now you broke the inertia. And guess what? I guarantee you is going to happen if you come out and you share yourself. I guarantee you, Glenn or myself or both are going to acknowledge you. And my goodness, well done. Well done. We're looking forward to hearing more from you. That's Bob from Detroit. I'm just making up the names and locations right now. Bob from Detroit, everybody. We'll be hearing a lot more from him, right? That's Sally from Florida, right? We'll be hearing a lot more from you, Sally. You're on the right track. Welcome. So glad you're here. Thanks for all you do for your team. Okay? And then it gets easier next time, and easier next time. And next thing you know, you just can't stop. I got an idea. I got an idea. Let me turn on my iPhone camera right now, and let me bark this idea out to the world, because they need to hear this. Where do you get these ideas from? You get these ideas from going through the steps, from getting with your coaches, from doing the business, from interacting with people, some of which are here in this world to show you what not to do, by the way. That's good content. right? That's good content. Observing less intelligent people. That's good stuff. By reading books like the one that I just mentioned, the couple actually that I just mentioned, right? What you put in is what's going to come out. So load your guns, my friend, because in the moment of truth, what's going to come out is what you put in. So you damn well better be collecting some good ammo, right? This is what it's about. People sometimes say, John, how can they give you a topic 5 minutes before you go on stage and a microphone and you talk for an hour without missing a beat? Because I got so much content. I've been studying this stuff for 30 years. Can you do that? You can do that. You're not going to do it if you're not interested in being part of the solution. You're not going to do it if you're just thinking about what gratification can I attain in the next 30 minutes. I just bought my first solo ad. I haven't made my money back yet. Oh, right? Deferred gratification. That's only something intelligent people can do. You got to be able to see down the road. Okay? And I know it's all, look, if you were not, what am I trying to say? You wouldn't be here on this call if you weren't intelligent enough to be here on this call. Right? You wouldn't be engaged in entrepreneurial action if you didn't have the ability to defer gratification. You could go join some Ponzi scheme or something, right? If you want like instant riches, you don't have to sell anything, just go ahead and, let the magical system do something for you. People buy that stuff every day and it comes and it goes and all that, But this is a bit more substantial, right? You can go join a Ponzi scheme right now. I don't suggest you do. And you might find instant gratification there. And then it gets shut down. You got to go find another one. There's actually Ponzi scheme directories online. Oh, people love a good Ponzi scheme, right? Oh, how long is this one running? Oh, it just started up a couple weeks ago. Great, let's get in while the getting's good because we got about 3 months till this one gets shut down. It's sad. I'm laughing, but it's sad. It's sad. And here, we've got something we can build for years. We got something where, my goodness, what is our product? An educational curriculum that teaches marketing, sales and marketing, the highest paid profession in the world, and it's going to cost you pennies on the dollar compared to that college, government school tuition that kids are coming out of college with 150 grand in student loan debt and zero marketable skills. It's a friggin' travesty. We're the solution, guys. This is a solution. Get on that soapbox. You'd have to be out of your friggin' mind to not get started with this. It's that good. And if you have that sort of posture, that sort of conviction, man, that comes out. People don't even know what it is. Well, all they know is they got to join. Well, where's the link here? There's a link? I can get in on this deal? It's not too late? Just because of your conviction. How do I do that? How do I conjure up that sort of conviction? I sell it to me first. That's how I do that. I sell to me. That's the biggest sale I can make. And if it's not good enough for me to buy it, then it's not good enough for me to sell. Think about that. You can go anywhere and make money. Why are we here? Why are we here? This is a cut above. You damn well better know it. If you're going to communicate value in the marketplace, you got to know what that value is. And more important than the words you say is the conviction in your voice, your physiology, your tone, your attitude. Can you produce some content? You can. Are you in your own way, or have you been? We won't affirm that moving forward. Have you been in your way? Well, let's go ahead and get rid of that inertia. Meet me there Friday morning. Meet me and Glenn. We'll get this done. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, that's it. That's it, that's all we need. And it should be like popcorn, man. I'm doing this, I'm making money, I just learned something, I just had a breakthrough. Holy crap this, holy crap that, right? That's the conviction. People hear that, they're like, oh my goodness, where was that link again? You mean I can get started and see this as an insider for like $1 trial? My goodness, here's my $1. Where do I send my $1? I get a coach? I get to talk to a real person? You guys, it's really good. This is really, really good. You just got to know it, and you got to start communicating it. And no, you're not getting paid for it in the next 5 minutes, but you're going to get paid for it for years. You develop a habit of outflowing quality content, whether it's 30 to 60 seconds at a time, or a 5-minute YouTube video, or a 500-word article on your blog, or a course that you're producing, or a book that you're writing. You get in the habit of being a producer and not just a consumer. You're going to be powerful. in the marketplace. You're going to have a voice. People are going to know who you are. Then maybe you publish your first book and thousands of people will buy it with not one penny of advertising. Maybe that happens for you, right? It's not going to happen if you're a consumer. And every call we do on this live call series, every day, you get to be a consumer. You get to sit here and listen. That's nice. But on Friday, you have to be the producer. That's you. I can't do that for you. This is your big shot to get out of your own way and produce something of worth for this community, which includes you and the people who you're about to enroll in your organization, who are going to refer to you as their leader 30, 60, 90 days from now. And if you don't see that happening, that's what you need to work on. Sell yourself that vision. Understand that the words that come out of your mouth are important and they're immortal. And people will quote you years from now because of what they heard you say on that conference call, because you were the guest on the Black Diamond call, because you produced something that woke them up. And I still to this day have people come and tell me of an effect that I had on them 10 plus years ago when they heard a call like this and the light bulb came on and now they're a few $1 million down the road and they still refer to that event, right? Speaking of events, we've got one coming up. Be there. Be there. Not because you need to consume the information at the event, which you do. So do I. I need training, right? Marketing's constantly changing. My goodness, it's the internet, okay? So I'm going to get some tips, okay? But you also need to be there because there's going to be somebody newer than you there. If you're hearing this live right now, we're months away from the event. You realize there are people who are going to get started in digital altitude the week of the event, and they're going to show up there. And they'll be looking to you as a person with more experience. You see how this teamwork, how it shows up, how it works? You're not an island. And you're going to have an effect, my friends. You're going to have an effect. Will it be a good one? Well, that's up to you. Or will it be, I'm having the effect of being another bump on the log that people are still scratching their heads after having met me, wondering if they even made the right decision. You can have that effect. You can have that effect. Choose. It's your choice, right? I'm here to help you make a spectacle of yourself. Make so much money people can't even believe it anymore. So now you're not even relatable. Now they need to hear from your organization who just got started and they only made $20,000 this month, right? They haven't made $100,000 like you, right? Because you're like some guru monster, something, right? But you can't even relate to that anymore. Is that where you want to be? Start now. The habit of doing more than paid for. Start developing that habit. I just talked for an entire hour. I thought this was going to be a short call. Whenever I think it's going to be short, I'm just going to deliver my points. I'm going to make my point. I don't need to belabor the point. I'm just going to go ahead and make a couple of points here. We'll open it up for Q&A. It'd be nice. And then I go on this rant, and that's what happens. So, guys, I love and respect you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this journey that we're all on. I am going to go and open it up. I've got my next appointment, and my goodness, I've got a student call in 17 minutes. So we're going to have to keep it brief. But I just opened it up for Q&A, which includes commentary, whatever you want. If you want to unmute your microphone, raise your hand. And if you're on a phone or Skype, *6 is the command to raise your hand. If you're on the app, then you can just click the microphone, raise your hand button or whatever it looks like. And we do have, let's see, we got Linda. Hey, Linda, you're live on the air.
Hey, John, thank you so much for all of your words. I love how much you love your words and how well you put them together.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to say that I was out on my morning walk today and I was really thinking about Las Vegas, and I'm en route. I have my ticket, and something you said in an earlier call just really got me super focused, and so I just want to, again, thank you for that. And what it was how do I want to occur in Las Vegas? How do I want to occur in the lives of the people that I meet there and in the eyes of the people that I meet there? And that just helped me so much focus on how I do want to occur there. And I want to occur there as a leader. I know I'm not a leader in digital altitude yet, but that's what I'm aiming for, and I'm already a leader in many aspects of my own life. So I just want to bring that down there. So thank you very, very much for your words.
Oh, Linda, thank you. Can I offer you this? You are a leader in digital altitude. You are, you are, you are. As soon as you say you are. You know, I was at a conference where my wife and I were sitting with a gentleman named Doug Weed. Doug Weed. He was a consultant to a U.S. president. He was a diamond in Amway at one point. He's one of the greatest living orators that I've ever heard. And my wife Shannon said to him, you know, I decided I really want to be a leader in this organization. He said, well, then be the leader. And he walked away. That was it. So when does that decision happen? Well,
exactly. Yeah.
Right. So as long as you say I'm not a leader yet, well, all right, you're not a leader yet. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce that argument, because if you look again at this book, page 94 on this PDF that I'm looking at, Think and Grow Rich, the major attributes of leadership, if you're doing these 11 things, you're being a leader. Did you already get paid? Like, did you already put money on the board or something? Well, no, but that's a guaranteed future outcome because you decided it is. Number 4, definiteness of decision. What is a decision? It's a cutting off point. It's where you say, this is the outcome that we shall have. The moment you decide, now you're the leader. Okay, think about the definition of success according to Earl Nightingale. Have you ever heard the recording, The Strangest Secret?
I sure have.
Well, there you go. So what does he say the definition of success is?
Is that where he says it's the steady progression towards something of purpose or something of meaning, some such thing like that?
Pretty close. He said success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
Right.
So by that definition, the progressive, meaning it's not done yet, realization, making more real, right, bringing it into, manifestation, of a worthy, well, who makes that determination? That's you, so that means it's self-determined. Ideal, meaning here's the perfect outcome, here's the ideal scene. Okay, so the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The moment you start taking deliberate action towards progressively realizing a worthy ideal, in that moment you're a success. Did you make the money already? No. Same thing with leadership. You're a leader as soon as you apply these principles, and the money has to follow. It has to, Linda. Mm-hmm. So I just want to acknowledge you. Linda, ladies and gentlemen, there she is. Watch out, because she's coming to Vegas, and I'm going to learn something from you, Linda.
Nice. I look forward to it.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you for being here, my friend. We got one more caller in queue. We're going to go to Mr. Troublemaker himself, Glenn Henderson. How are you, brother?
Doing fantastic, John. I got to tell you, I mentioned it in the chat room a moment ago. My money tonight has been the best call in the history of digital altitude. Certainly the best call in my experience with digital altitude, and you get the props from me. Keep on putting it down, and I will keep picking it up. It's fantastic. Been absolutely fantastic tonight. My team and I will be there in Vegas. Looking forward to it. In fact, this will be my first digital altitude major event, and I'm so excited. I might even get some sleep tonight. The one thing that is sticking out in my mind tonight, John, that I'm going to take with me, something you said, and I've recorded it, and it's going into my content tomorrow. And you said, and I quote, "I would rather have a bullet in my head than be part of the problem." You can't know, John, how powerful that was for me right there in that moment, because it got me to realize and remind myself of things that I have done well in building my digital altitude business so far, and new things that I will be doing well. For example, the Friday call. I decided to get out, because something else that you'd mentioned to me previously. I decided to get moving and do something about it. And so listen, y'all, bring your guests on the call too, because there will be at least one very special guest commenter on this Friday call. You don't know who it is yet, but you will. So I am already being part of the solution. And for the inspiration. I thank you. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Glenn. And of course, for anyone who doesn't know, that was Glenn Henderson. It's 3 o'clock in the morning over there, Glenn. He's over in Scotland for the month, and yeah,
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, there you go. Sleep is overrated. Really, things like feeding the body and resting it and stuff are just inconveniences in my world. I don't want to eat or sleep, but you got to keep the body running. But anyway, the point is, here's a guy who's producing. He's not just consuming; he's producing on a weekly basis for everybody. So have Glenn's back, everybody. And he's like, all right, who wants to share your wins for the week? It should be like a damn eruption of noise. A damn eruption where we've got to mute everybody because we can't hear what's going on. It's friggin' chaos, right? So that's this community that we're building here. That's it right there. It's about as close as you can get to a game show. Glenn and my other people on the call staff, I tell them, don't be a game show host. Nobody wants to hear a game show host. But that's the one call where it's almost an exception. Anyway, Glenn, thanks for all you do, brother. We are just about out of time. I do see Captain Marvin wants to speak, though. So, Captain, I'm going to go ahead and bring you out here. You are live on the air, sir.
Good afternoon, John. As you know, I'm not a man of many words as usual, but your talk this evening hit a few hot spots for me. I appreciate every word you said. Good training as always. Lou Ling and I both always enjoy listening to you. But I want to let you know I will be there on Friday. As you know, in the position I had as a tugboat captain, you have to get out there and do a little bit more than your crew. It's a teaching position. Really, you have to be able to do everything they do, plus a little bit, so that they learn as well. We'll see you Friday.
Absolutely. Thank you, Captain. I appreciate the acknowledgement. And for those of you who don't know, Captain Marvin and his lovely wife have been to multiple digital altitude events, and we are both brothers of the tugboat. Captain Marvin was a captain, of course, and I was a diesel engineer on a tugboat fleet in New York Harbor. Our paths never crossed, but yeah, we've got a little bit of a common ground, or common water, I suppose. So there's that. With that, we're going to go ahead and end our commentary section. My friends, thank you so much. I see a ton of acknowledgement in the chat roll as well. Thank you. I really appreciate all of you. Apparently, we struck some chords here tonight, so thank you all who participated. Patrick, Llewellyn, of course, Glenn, and everybody. Thank you. And I will see you all here back tomorrow morning with Joel Strait, where you can sit back, relax, and listen. You'll be able to sit back, relax, and listen again tomorrow night to Kathy Flynn, and then Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday evening, and then Thursday morning, and then Friday morning, you get to participate. I'm going to sit back, relax, and listen to you as you produce content that's going to now help somebody else become free and know that there's hope, know that there's something they can do about their situation, which is their job and their lack of abundance and whatever it is they're looking to create. Thank you all in advance for being a part of the solution, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. That's all. Bye for now, guys. We are done.